Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Vijay and I am a Microsoft MVP specialized in SharePoint. In today's video, we are going to discuss about SharePoint document library. We will try to understand what is a library and then we will see what is a document library, and I will show you what are the various templates are available in SharePoint for various type of files, and then I will show you the features of a SharePoint library and why library is so popular. Apart from that, we will see the scenarios where we should create a list and where we should go for SharePoint document library. And also we will see an example where we will discuss how we can create a library to store documents. And also there I will show you how we can create columns in that document library so that we can store some information about each document or each file that you are storing in that document library. Now, before going to know what is a library, let me ask you a question. And the question is, do you want to store documents in SharePoint? Now, if you have not checked out my previous videos, I have explained how you can sign up for an Office 365 Enterprise E3 or E5. And then I have shown how we can create SharePoint site, or what is SharePoint Online and how we can create SharePoint site. So now it is the time where we can think of how we can store documents in a document library. Because imagine you have a department called HR and you might have a lot of documents where you want to store and you want to categorize it properly so that you can easily find the documents as well. Not only all your organization members or anyone who has access to the SharePoint site, they might want to see the files or see the documents which are there presented in the site. And most importantly, also they should only see those documents which they are authorized to see it. And for all these things, the solution is to create a document library. Now, what is a SharePoint library? SharePoint library is the place to store, share and collaborate files within the team members. Now, what is within the team members? Does that mean other team members cannot able to access it? This is, you can actually authorize people who want to see it. If you will say, okay, this is the team that we are working on, and this team only this team should see those documents, then you can give access to them. But if you will feel that there is some other team also or some other member, they should also see these documents, then you can give permissions to them. In other words, SharePoint document libraries are special kind of list which are used to store documents. Now, in previous videos, I have explained what is a SharePoint list, and I'll put the link in the video description. You can have a look at that. So basically, when you are creating a list, you are storing information, and when you are creating a document library, that time you are storing documents or the files. So each item or each file is known as an item in the document library in SharePoint Online, and the process of creating the SharePoint library is same for SharePoint Online, SharePoint on premises as well. Only difference is, if you are using a classic experience, then the creation of these libraries and the look and feel of libraries is slightly different. I will show you those things as well. So now let us see the various templates that are available in SharePoint to create libraries. Now, when we are talking about libraries, or then we are dealing with the files. So the files can be of any type. For example, it can be a PDF file, it can be an Excel file, it can be a PPT, it can be a Word document, it can be a picture or an image file. So Microsoft provides us various templates that we can use so that we can just use that template and create our library. And then when you are actually creating this or using these templates for creating your library, then in that case, each template has a purpose to do that. For example, there is a document library which we can create to store documents, and documents can be Excel, can be Word, can be PowerPoint, can be a PDF file, anything. And then similarly, there is form library which is designed to store XML forms. And then also there is wiki page library, where in an organization you can create a wiki page library where you can store wiki pages. And similarly, there is a picture library where you can store pictures. So let's say your team team pictures or departmental pictures you want to store somewhere, then you can use a picture library for that. And similarly, there is asset library where you can store files like your audio files or video files. And then there is form library where you can store info path forms on this, and there is record library where you can store records. So these are different types of templates. Now the question might have been coming, can I store a, let's say, a picture into a document library? The answer is yes, you can store any files within that libraries, but only thing is when you will choose a particular template, you will get some of the additional things on that. For example, if you will store let's say the info path forms in a document library, then it will be like kind of an XML file. And then suppose you want to store a picture library, or you want to store a lot of pictures on a document library, you will just see as an individual file. But if you create a picture library and you will store it, you will see different kind of views where you can see the pictures in a different way, and those are the default features that are available on these templates, and you can actually use those templates also if it is fitting to your requirements. Similarly, though you can store rich media files like images, audio or video files in document library, but the ideal place to store is in an asset library. Now let us see the features of a document library. So imagine you will create a library for so that your team members can work, or they can access the files and they can collaborate with each other. Now, what are the features that you can do? You can get is you can organize the documents properly. We will see shortly what are the different ways that you can organize, and then you can securely store the documents. What does mean by securely store? Means the documents will not be public always. It is the permission that you will give. So based, if you have permission, if any user have permission, they can only see the documents. If the user doesn't have the permission to access the particular file, then they will not be able to see those documents. So that means your files or the documents are secure in the document library. Similarly, another feature that you can use is you can easily share the documents with other users. And also SharePoint libraries provides versioning features where you can check out the previous version, and basically if you have modified something and you want to go and check your previous versions, and maybe you want to also restore that, you can do this by using the versioning features of the documents library. And we will see in details those in separate videos, but I just wanted to tell you the high level features. Similarly, there is a check-in check-out features. This is quite useful when multiple people are working in a document library. So if I am working on a document where I am adding some text, then probably I can check out the document and then I can modify, so that other users will get notified when they will try to modify the same document. And once I modify it, then I can check in the document so that the updated information will be available to other users. And also you can use alerts to create a kind of notification that you can get whenever someone modified or someone added document or deleted document from the document library. That will be out of box templates which will be available, and you don't need to write any code or anything. Just by enabling the features or doing a simple steps, you can do this. So after this, now let us discuss whether you should go for a list or library. Remember, as I said about when we are talking about SharePoint list, I was talking about items, and when we were talking about library, I was talking about the files. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that SharePoint list, in a SharePoint list we cannot store documents? That is not correct. So in a SharePoint list also, we can actually store files of the documents as an attachment, and when you will store in a library, you can directly store the files. So it doesn't mean that I cannot store attachments or the documents, so I'm creating a library. It is up to the scenario that you have to see when you actually need it. For example, now imagine, let's say your HR team are conducting an interviews. So people came to your company for interviews, and you want to track their information or you want to save the information. The information may be the candidate name, maybe their contact number, email ID, resume, maybe their passport, maybe their photo ID card, government ID proof, anything like this information. Now when you need to collect this kind of information, though your PDF maybe they will send the resume, your passport or any government ID proof, or their experience letter or anything they will give, those are documents. And at the same time you want to store the information like their, as I said, their mobile number, email ID and their name as well. So in these scenarios you should not go for a library, because if you will take one a library, then each item actually treated, or each file treated as a separate item. For example, if I will store someone's let's say resume or someone's passport, then it will actually create two items. You will not be able to actually know for whom this resume or this passport is. Now in these scenarios what you can do is actually you can create a list, and then you can attach those documents, related documents of that particular candidate as an attachment to this SharePoint list. And the benefit you will get is, even if someone forgets those documents, you will have an entry anytime they can come and they can actually attach a file or a document regarding their own. So, and now let us see how we can actually create a library. What is the scenario that you can create a library? Now, if you'll see here, I want to store training related documents. Suppose these are my SharePoint trainings, SharePoint development training, SPFX training, Site Owner training, Power Platform training, and Intest training. These are trainings that I provided, these professional trainings. Now I want to store the documents and want to give access to the people. Now, what option I have to store this kind of documents? Now, can I create a list? It's make no sense to create a list in this scenario. So definitely I'm going to create a SharePoint library for this. And then how I can organize this document? That means if that is a SharePoint development document, then it should I should be able to actually filter it out. So what you have the option is, you can probably go and create folder also to organize these things. For example, I'll create a SharePoint library, and then I'll store this. I'll create 6 more or 5 more folders in that, so that any documents related to that SharePoint or this SharePoint training, I'll put that. The other way is you can actually create columns and you can set the metadata. Now let's go to the SharePoint site, and then we will see how we can create a library. So I'll open my SharePoint site. You can see here this is a SharePoint online modern site, and there are different ways that we can create a library. One thing is, you can see here is the new option, and it is saying that clearly you can create a document library from here. So this is the place. If you will click on this, then you can see here it is asking you that you can provide a name and a description, and if you want to show this site in the left navigation, then you can click on create. Now the other way is, you can see here, if you go to the gear icon or in the settings icon, then there is a link called as add an app, and when you will click on add an app, then you can see here, you will see various templates on this. You can see here document library, and if you just scroll down here, you can see document library, form library, wiki page library, picture library. So these are different kind of libraries are there. If you want to create a, let's say, a picture library, you can simply select it, and then you can provide a name for it. For example, I will say team pictures, and I'll click on create. So when you will click on create, it will actually create a team pictures. You can see the icon also, it is coming. If you'll click on this, this is the picture library, whichever it is coming. And in this library, you can see this is the modern library, and you can actually upload. You can see here, you can click on files, upload, and then you can upload pictures from your local system as well. But our intention is to create a library, because we want to store training related documents in that. So if you'll actually go to this settings icon, and if you'll go to the site content, there is also another place where you can create a library. If you'll click on new, and then you can see here there is document library also. So you have the option that you can create library. Now click on this library, and then you can see here, I will give the support, I'll say training documents, and you can always give a description for your library, which will define what your library is all about, and then click on create. Now before that, you can see here there is an option, a checkbox which is checked, which is saying show inside navigation, so it will appear in the left navigation. If I'll select this, now click on create, and you can see here it is saying that there is a document library which is available on this particular name. So I will just put here SP training documents, and then you can see here just checkbox and then click on create. I will tell you a best practices over here. Whenever you are providing a name, make sure that the first time when you are giving, you don't put space or special characters on this. What will happen is if you provide a space, then it will actually take some unnecessary characters in the URL. Let me put this. So what I'll do here is I'll put the space and then I'll click on create. Now you can see here the URL, it is saying SharePoint and then %20 training, %20 documents. Now the problem here is once you do this, you cannot change this URL. So make sure you should not give space and you try to make it too short. For example, in this case, you can probably give SPTD, something like that. That is the URL. Later, you can actually go and change it. For example, if I'll click on this settings icon and I can see library settings, which will actually provide you the library settings page, and here you can see what are there are various options that are available, and you can do the changes. For example, in this case, list name, description and navigation, if you'll click on this and then you can see here I can actually change it. For example, I will say SharePoint training documents and I'll click on save. So once you click on save, actually the URL will not change, but the text is changed. You can see here still the URL is same. So that means once you created with some characters, special characters, then it will actually render like this and you cannot change it basically in SharePoint Online. So make sure that you put a short URL and short and meaningful URL without any special characters. Now once you have this, anytime actually you can go here and you can upload files, you can simply drag and drop files. You have the options. For example, if I'll click on files, then actually I will go here, let's say I'll put this file here. You can see here I can put this file over here, and it is a PNG file, so that means you can upload PNG files also into this. And apart from that, also you can see here there is a new button where you can create documents. For example, you can see if I'll click on this Word document, it will open Word Online. So your Office 365 Word Online, and here you can write some text. For example, this is a speed training document, and you can see here you can just click over here and you can actually give a file name properly. So I'll say spdev doc, something like this, and you no need to save it because it is automatically saved, and you can simply go back and you will get that. So for example, if I will now go to the library, you can see here the library or the file has been created already. And anytime you can actually go here and you can see from which location you are creating. You can just click on that. Actually you can go over there. So I just click on the site URL, so I came to the site, and now I can click on this left navigation and then I'll be able to go to the library again. Now when actually you are doing this this document, you might not be able to know for which training course this document is. For example, in this scenario we wanted to have the documents for this kind of trainings. So how actually we will know that this document is for site owners or developers or for Nintex? Now what we can do is you can actually create folders and you can organize your documents. For example, I will simply click on new, and then you can see here create folder is there, and once you click on this folder you can see it is asking for the name. I'll say SharePoint development documents and click on create. So once you have this, you can go to that folder and actually you can create the documents here also. For example, I will say test. I'll just put a test document and I will say chapter 1. and you can go there. So if you'll see now here in this folder, you have a document here. That means it is there in the SharePoint development. So similarly, you can create also other folders. For example, I will create SPFX. I will create another folder for Nintex. You can see here Nintex, and then I'll create another folder for site owners. So that means now what will happen is whatever the documents are there, I will actually can store these documents inside any one of the folder, rather in one document library where people will confuse on this. Now this is one old way of storing the documents by creating folders. Now there is some problem on this, because when actually you will create more subfolders and then you will get confused. Scenarios like this will come. Apart from that, there will be browser URL character restrictions are there. I have created a separate video for this about the folders, how we can create folders on SharePoint. You can check out that. I'll put the link in the video description. Now I will show you one more option where you can actually store the documents by creating the columns, so that you can actually define this document belongs to which column or which category. Now I will delete it. So you can see here I can select every item, and then I'll click on delete, and then it will ask me, do you want to send these items to recycle bin? You can say yes. Now what we can do is we can actually create the column for it, or you can say the metadata for it. So in this case, if you'll see here, there's an add column, and I will create a choice column in this case. And what choice I'll give is, let's say I will say course. And in that, if you'll see here, you have choice, the type is choice. You can put a description, and then here it is. So if you are using Office 365 or SharePoint Online, then you will get this kind of changes. You might not see this in your tenant. If you are I think probably you can see by this time, because this is widely released now. But if you are using on-premises version, you might not see this option. What this option is, you can actually have color coded choice values on that. So if I will just put here, I will say SharePoint, or I'll just put development. And the second one I'll put SPFX, the third one I'll put site owner, and then probably the last one I'll put Nintex. You can see here, and then I will click on create here. I'll just simply click on save. So actually it will now create the columns. So you can see here you have a create column here. Now if I will actually upload a document, for example, I'll click on upload and go over here, and actually I can create a document here. Suppose I'll upload this document, and then you can see here this is a CSV file. I can actually edit the properties and set up the column here. So if I'll click on this, and then I will say more details and properties, then you can see here you can actually select the option here. So this one development, so you can see here it is saved now, and you can see the color coded also. So if you have more columns, you based on that color also you can see what is this, what are this document, just by seeing the color. Now also you can these lot of new features are available on this compared to the old classic SharePoint sites, SharePoint libraries. We will see those things in the future videos. Now for this timing being, I just wanted to tell you these things, that this is how you can work with libraries. And this is a scenario where you can actually either create folder, or you can create metadata to organize your documents. If you like the videos, kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon, so that the moment I will upload a video, you will get a notification on that, and you will get a lot of free videos on SharePoint, Office 365, SPFX, Power Platform. So all these videos you will get. So thank you and have a nice day.